As you know, the Zhiyun image transmitter pairs perfectly with the Weebill S camera gimbal, and if you're considering this image transmitter with your Canon M50, you will need to know this information. Now, I've been able to make this work with my Canon M50, and I'm going to show you today how to do this for yours as well. Now, this may also work with other camera systems. So I'm going to highlight an issue with the HDMI ports on the Canon M50 being on the opposite side of the Zhiyun image transmission system and how I overcame this, saving myself from a potentially costly mistake. Okay, so one of the reasons why I bought the image transmission system and paired this with my Weebill S is for this ability to track your subject. The Zhiyun website does not mention that the Canon M50 is supported whatsoever by the Zhiyun image transmission system, yet here it is working beautifully. Hey, I'm Darren. I'm Creator61 with my tools, toys, tips and tactics to make you better than you were yesterday. Today I'm talking about the Zhiyun image transmission system paired up with my camera, the Canon M50 and the Weebill S camera gimbal. It is a powerhouse of a system and I know you're going to love this solution. Now, the Canon M50 is not supported by Zhiyun Technologies. Have a look on their website, have a look at their PDFs, and at the time of recording this video, simply it is not mentioned as being supported, yet here it is working. And today I'm going to highlight an issue where the ports on the Canon M50 are on one side. These are the HDMI ports. These are on one side of the camera, whereas the HDMI port on the Zhiyun image transmitter is on the wrong side. It's on the other side. And the cable that you can buy is only 30 centimeters. That cable will not fit. But I've been able to find a cable that is perfect. It doesn't foul the camera gimbal, it balances perfectly, and it is neat, cheap, and affordable. The Weebill S was released, about 12 months ago, and I've only just picked mine up. I've had it now for probably a month, and I'm loving it. It is fantastic, and a really good match for the Canon M50. Plus, it allows for upgrading because it can take a far heavier load than what the Canon M50 is. So a quick overview of the Zhiyun Technologies image transmitter. It's a transmount, which means it sits underneath your camera and it is mounted to the gimbal. The beauty of it is that it has minimal lag and can transmit up to about 100 meters. Hey, I've got the image transmitter hooked up with my Canon M50 and the Weebill S, and it is tracking my moves, which is fantastic, all autonomously, and I do have it set to roughly half my face and my chest as well. The sound is coming through the Røde Wireless Go microphone, and it is working fantastically as a one-person setup. Is there issues? Yeah, there probably is. And I'm still working through these as I get to understand the system a little bit better. But I can't complain too much for an autonomous system that tracks my every move without me having to employ somebody else to do this with me. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Pair that with a wireless microphone system and you've got an image transmitter that will follow focus and you can still hear yourself talking from a long way away. Perfect! Now, the system has an internal battery, but it can also draw power directly from the gimbal. As I've said, the Zhiyun image transmitter is not supported by the Canon M50 whatsoever. There is nothing on their website that says that you can use it, yet it's working perfectly, and I'm going to show you with the particular cable solution that I've found for you. So I thought I would look at the Zhiyun image transmitter and the documentation for hooking up my Canon camera. Now, the Canon M50 not being supported, I guessed that the HDMI cable from Zhiyun Technology would be correct. That would be the cable B, Mini HDMI to Mini HDMI. No, wrong. I needed to get a micro HDMI to Mini HDMI. So the Canon M50 has a micro HDMI on one side and the Zhiyun image transmitter has Mini HDMI on the other side. Now, I was lucky enough to try a proof of concept. I had a cable laying around that is a normal HDMI to micro HDMI, a cable that I bought for hooking up my GoPro, so I could watch my GoPro footage on my television system. Now, I needed to find an adapter, and I was lucky enough to be able to find one from a company in Australia called Jaycar. Jaycar have this little tiny adapter that takes a regular HDMI cable and turns it into a mini HDMI cable, and it costs about 12 bucks. So have a look at their website down below. I'll put a link in there, and you might find that this works for you as well. But there was an issue with this particular type of solution. And here is the problem. This is the Jaycar adapter. It's a full HDMI to mini HDMI plugged into this cable that I had laying around from my GoPro. And at the camera end is the micro HDMI, and as you can see, it is kind of pushed right up against that motor there. So even though it was a proof of concept, it was not the best solution. The cable is 80 centimeters long. It is way too long for being neat and not fouling the gimbal or making it easy for the camera to be balanced on the gimbal. I needed something better. I had a criteria for selecting a particular cable, and it was very hard to actually find it. It took me a week and a bit to find the right cable. So I'm going to save you time in giving you the right cable so you can go and purchase it straight away to hook up your Canon M50 with the Weebill S and the Zhiyun Image Transmission system. It is fantastic. I love it. I'm really excited for it, and I'm so excited that I need to share this information with you. So my selection criteria is the cable needs to be micro HDMI from the Canon M50 to mini HDMI that plugs into the Zhiyun Image Transmission system. The cable must not hinder the gimbal or the camera in any way. It must be neat, and it must be able to be balanced perfectly. Now, I wanted to find a cable that had a micro HDMI right angle, because the Canon M50 does sit rather close to that motor off to the side, and I don't want to foul the operation of the gimbal. The cable needs to be cheap, but not poor quality. And finally, the cable must be Australian stock, because I didn't want to wait for a cable to come from China that would take 6 months to get here in the current climate. So with all the criteria selected, time to go and find that cable, and it wasn't easy. And this is what I found. The Atomos coiled right angle micro to mini HDMI cable, and it is around 30 to 45 centimeters in length. And here is the Atomos cable all plugged in. I'll just unplug this USB cable there, and we've got the micro right angle HDMI cable plugged into the camera. It's nice and clear of that motor off to the right hand side. And the bonus of having the coiled HDMI cable is that I can run my USB cable right through the middle there, keeping both nice and neat. So off to the left, I've got the mini HDMI plugged into the image transmitter, and on the right there is the USB cable, and both cables are now clear of those motors, and I have found this to be a perfect solution. So for more information, I'll put links down below. I found this cable at John Barry Sales in Sydney or Melbourne. Link to their website down below. The HDMI mini to HDMI adapter came from Jaycar, and I'll put that link down there as well. So this is information I just want to give to you. It's worked for me, and it might work for you too. So hopefully it does. Hopefully you get something out of this. And just to remind you that this video is not sponsored by any of the brand names that I've mentioned today. This is just information that I've found that has worked for me, and I want to give this information to you. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure making this video for you guys. Thought I'd try this. Oh, you don't know how many takes this has taken. It's taken quite a few takes, hasn't it? Yeah. Oh, the frustrations of making things perfect. Anyway, let me know. Let me know what you think. Did I do an okay job?